2025 was one of the loudest years in music, but also one of the most confusing. We had big artists, big stars, big tours, but no real movement. Today we're going to talk about what mattered in 2025 and what didn't. My name's Sammy Rigaud. This is a Sammy Rigaud podcast. Thank you for tuning in. If the algorithm has brought you to my channel, thank you. Go ahead and like, subscribe, turn up the hype for me as well, and let's keep going up like we are. The music scene this year was so different. So different, it was so awkward, honestly. But I got like 5 little takeaways that I want to share with you, and then you in the comments tell me if there's anything I missed and if I'm wrong on any of these. Number 1, touring exposed the real artists. There's a lot of artists that streamed like crazy. They went up, but they could not sell a ticket. This year, I went to about 12 concerts across all the genres. I did hip hop, R&B, gospel, contemporary, pop. I did almost everything this year. And one thing I can tell is there were some of the artists that I went to that had huge streaming numbers, that had huge amount of followers and likes on IG. But boy, them ticket sales are different. Ticket sales are different. Now, you got your heavy hitters. Beyonce, she still went crazy. Taylor Swift, she still went crazy. Bad Bunny still went crazy to the point where his streaming numbers and his tour numbers have gotten him to be on the Super Bowl for 2026. And you got your Drakes, you got your Kendricks. So those top artists, ain't nothing really going to change with them. They going to be at the top. They going to sell and stream. Their tickets are exclusive, right? When you go to a Drake concert, you know, that it's going to cost you. I'm in Atlanta. I saw what the ticket sales and the move was for Beyonce. That was crazy. You know, it messed up the whole city's traffic for those 2 days she was here. That being said, a lot of these other artists, the B-list or the C-list, some of these other artists who don't have cult fan bases, who don't, try to connect with their fans, who just are doing the old method of release and I'm stepping out, those artists struggled. And I went to a couple of those concerts this year, and they struggled. The ticket sales were empty. A lot of seats were empty at those concerts. That's what 2020. I think to me it exposed who the artists are, who the real stars are. There's artists and then there's stars. And then there's another group of artists who just connect with their fan base. Those guys, their ticket sales were great this year. Their tours were great, and they connected with their fans this year. The second biggest thing we saw is that hip hop, it didn't fall off. It just stopped evolving. In Atlanta, we got huge artists: 21 Savage, Lil Baby, Gunna, Future, JID, you name it. We have so many big artists in Atlanta. Hip hop across the board, it did not evolve. So people are getting tired of it. People are listening to older songs, older albums more now. Nothing's sticking. A lot of what you hear on the radio sounds the same. A lot of the newest songs coming out all sound the same. When Lil Baby puts out a record, it sounds the same. It sounds the same as the other 10 Lil Baby records you heard. 21 Savage the same way. I'm only picking on those two because they dropped this year heavily. But hip hop didn't evolve. It didn't evolve. The bright spots of hip hop, some of the older artists, the Clips dropped an album that was amazing. And we got to see adult hip hop for the first time, right? Grown man hip hop. We got to see these gentlemen talk about their mother and their father passing. They got to see them talk about, wanting more kids. And, we got to see all that. Got to see brotherhood. So their album and their movement kind of stuck. But throughout the hip hop this year, Lil Baby sound the same. The Baby, these guys are creating the same thing over again. And it's kind of sorting itself out. There were some people that did really well, though. There are some people that did really well. Tyler, the Creator, did really well. I told you the Clips did well. JID did well. Playboy Cardi. Some of these artists who have specific fan base, they're not necessarily pop artists, they're not the top of the top, they gonna do well because they connect to their fans in a different way. So when you get those artists, sure. You can throw Gunna in the mix too. Gunna is going from a pop artist to cult fan base artists. The people who want music from Gunna and what they want from him, they're getting. They're getting it every time. That's the contrast. A third thing I learned about in 2025 that I learned about music this year in 2025. Yo, country just said, hey, we just gonna do hip hop. Like the country artists, they just said, hey, we're just gonna borrow everything from hip hop. Because some of the biggest artists in country music, they're not even trying to give you that traditional country music. They're trying to sell records. Back in, I want to say like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when Nelly had crossed over and did a little country, and it did so well. And then Florida Georgia Line came in and Sam Hunt, like the country music is just saying, yo, hey, we want to take whatever's working and we want to steal that. You got Morgan Wallen. Morgan Wallen sound like a rapper. He sound like a rapper. There is no difference between Morgan Wallen and a rap artist. Heck, Post Malone done joined him, and he's doing country now, and it sound like straight hip hop. It's trap beats. They might be singing about something a little different, but for the most part, it's trap beats, and the same melodies. It's not even country. You're not even getting that whiskey and rum and nah. You're not even getting that kind of music no more. The country singers are they're talking about Percocets and lean and multiple women on that. Like, yo, can we get some real country? Like, I'm not the biggest fan of country music, but the little that I do like, golly, like, you got to ask yourself, why did these guys just abandon their genre and just come to hip hop because it's selling? Jelly Roll dropped this year as a country artist, and I mean, I don't know what genre we gonna put Jelly Roll in. Like, what in the world? That man sound like he's at somebody's church sometimes, somebody's black church sometimes. But he's country music. Shabuzi, I mean, he's black doing country, but he sound straight like hip hop too. So you got to ask yourself, man, why are the country musicians getting rid of their genre and coming over to hip hop? You kind of got to ask yourself, why is this taking place? I know exactly why. They're trying to sell records and keep up like everybody else. Because as I travel the country in the deep South and I go to some of these, these Kentuckys, these Alabamas, these Mississippis, these New Orleans, these South Carolinas, there's a group of people that still want country music. That'll never die. They want country music. So maybe the younger kids, they want to put country with they hip hop and blend it and do the fusion. For the most part, there's a lot of people across this country that still want to listen to that good old boy country music. And these artists, Morgan Wallen, Post Malone, Jelly Roll, these guys are not doing it. They're not doing it. Shoot. And I like some of it at the first, but now I'm like, I don't know too much. Anyways, that's 2025. That's what country music's gone. It's not even trying to do country music no more. The other part is, the fourth thing I would say about 2025, the other thing is, fans are more fixated on the artist than the art. They like the artist more than the art. Nicki Minaj has barbs that do whatever they want. Drake has stands that, even if a song is not hot, they're going to rock with them. Kendrick the same way. Taylor Swift the same way. That'll feel you. I don't know if that album's that good. There's some songs on it. Justin Bieber, there's some songs on those guys' albums, but at the end of the day, fans are more fans of the artist than the actual songs. You ask people what is your some of your favorite songs this year, and they'll go to their favorite artists. It won't really be that. Like me personally, there's some. I'm the opposite. I like the songs. I don't necessarily like the artists. I like, what's that song? Man I Need. That song is hot. I'ma listen to that. There was some of that K-pop Demon Hunters music that it was hot. Like if there's a hip hop record, the Metro Boomin album, the Clips album, I like certain songs. I'm not fixated on an artist because if you start sticking to an artist, the artist is gonna make brainwash you and make you think everything they do is good, and that's bad for the consumers of music. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. If I hear a song I like it, I like it. You know, I'll hear Forrest Frank record that I like. Let's do it. You know what I mean? I'll hear a pop song I like, a country song, just the song. I'm not necessarily fixated on the artist because a lot of times that artist comes with a narrative and that's louder than the music. And I'm a music fan, not necessarily an artist song fan. Mm-mm. The last thing I saw is, genres are dead, right? It's more about the aesthetic. What do I mean by that? If you are an artist and you paint a great aesthetic, your IG shows your life in a way. The way you dress, the way you talk. If you can master that, you will blow up in this time right now. This is the time for that. You can blow up for that. You know, Pink Pantheress, she's like lo-fi, UK energy. It worked. Yeet. Huge artist this year. He's like dark rage and like he's like a minimalist. He is minimalistic in his music and how he dresses and all that. I told you earlier the Clips, they're like grown man hip hop, right? They're respectful, drug dealing, grown men music, and I think that works in today because people are more drawn to an aesthetic. People more want to find an artist that matches an aesthetic that they relate to. And I relate to the Clips album. I had a child this year. I can relate to how they're talking. These are men talking about stuff. I can relate to that. So I related to their album and I related to their music. I don't relate to Yeet. Yeet's doing the dark stuff I don't relate to that. I'm a bright guy. I'm happy with life, so I can't relate to that. And it goes on and on and on the deeper you get into the music scene. 2025 was crazy. And, we learned that touring is everything. Aesthetic is everything. Building a cult fan base is everything. Evolving and trying new things and taking risks is everything. Viral moments still matter. And having fans that care about you more than what you're doing is everything. So we're going to see. We're going to see what 2026 is like. To me, 2025 wasn't a bad year. It was just an honest one. It was an honest one. It showed us who could really be stars, who could really sell tickets, and who was just making streams and living off bots. So if we have anything to look forward to in 2026, it's to see, do these trends continue and what will happen next. My name is Sammy Rigaud. This is the Sammy Rigaud podcast. Subscribe. In the comments right now, tell me, what do you think? What were some trends that you saw in 2025 that you liked or you didn't like? God bless you.